Well, hello, you're listening to Adventist Radio London. This is the Family Matters Show. My name is Ruth Maxwell.
And I'm Brian Maxwell. And where are we today, Ruth?
Wow, we are with the Cherries.
Yes, we're in the home of our friends. I know you can cheat and do that in shows, and we're doing that today. We're at the home of our friends, Amos and Gloria. But let them introduce themselves. Over to you, Amos.
Right, my name is Amos Onchiri.
And I'm Gloria, Amos's wife.
Okay, welcome to the show, and thank you for agreeing to come on the show. Today we're going to be looking at raising children. Obviously, these guys are here on the show because they have some expertise in raising children, and us novices will be able to learn from them, and maybe somebody out there might learn from them too.
Yeah.
But as we're going to do what we normally do in every show, we're going to start with prayer. And on this occasion, Ruth, would you like to say the prayer, please?
Yes, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you so much for this opportunity that we can come together and learn and share. Please be with us and please guide us, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, in every show, Gloria and Amos, we normally start with a couple introducing themselves and telling us a story about how they met. So, would you like to tell us, how long have you been married? Let's start off with that.
We've been married 17 years plus 2.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Okay. So, who'd like to tell us how you met?
Yeah.
We have 2 different stories, hers and mine. But
Okay.
we'll try and make it one story today.
Okay.
We had a friend.
Yeah.
She was my friend, and she was her friend and at the same time work colleague.
Yeah.
And basically, I think she looked at Gloria and she thought she was good for me. And she looked at
Alright.
me and decided I'm good for Gloria.
Amen.
Yes.
And then
Okay.
she told Gloria to come and meet this young man. And she told me to go and meet this beautiful lady.
So, this was an arranged marriage.
You could say so.
Okay.
Sort of.
Okay. So, where did this all happen?
It all happened in...
Botswana
Okay.
Okay.
in Africa.
All right. So over 18 years ago. In
19.
Botswana. 19. Okay.
Yeah.
So give us all the juicy
Right,
details.
yeah, right, we want it.
We want it. Just
Yeah.
tell us who you met, how
That's
you met,
right.
and how you ended up together.
That's it.
As much as you're comfortable in sharing, obviously. We are conscious that this is a family show and it's going to be broadcast at a time when children will be listening.
No.
I will let her speak first. And then
Yes.
Well, Amos has already said that a friend introduced us, and I wasn't very keen to begin with, but she really insisted because she knew Amos
Yeah.
and
Okay.
said Amos is a very good guy, very
Yeah.
honest, reliable, and she thought that Amos would make a wonderful husband.
Oh, so she went straight in. She's
Straight
like, she's not, I want to meet you, this guy, so you can date him. She said, I think this guy will make a good husband.
It's not exactly like that, but girl talk. We
Yeah.
talk about these things.
Okay.
Yeah, and she thought that this Amos would be a good guy.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
she wanted me to meet him, and as I said, I wasn't very keen, and she arranged for the date and everything, and she came to my house to pick me up, and I didn't want to go.
Wow.
I changed my mind. I said, no, I don't want to meet this man. And she insisted that, no, you have to go. Just go and meet him. And if you don't like him, that's it.
Right.
Don't have to do anything.
Right.
So she spent almost an hour just trying to
Oh my
convince me.
goodness.
in the
Praise
meantime,
the
I was
Lord.
wasting my money drinking soda at President Hotel.
Oh, so she'd already arranged a meeting.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And I remember it was the 5th of May, the year 2000.
Wow.
Wow.
Memory.
So I was sitting there, waiting, an hour gone by.
Wow.
They are nowhere to be seen. And an hour and a half, 2 hours later, they appeared from the door.
Well, were you impressed that he'd waited that long, Gloria?
Yeah, I think that was the first test, and yeah, Amos is very patient, by the way.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm still patient.
Come on.
Yes, he's still patient even up to today.
So what was going through your mind when you were waiting?
I don't think there was much really of a worry. I knew, because I trusted this lady, that there must have been something that happened. That's why they weren't coming. And I didn't want to call, because then that would have meant that I'm desperate.
Right.
Oh, and nobody wants to look desperate, right?
Not at that age.
Okay.
So I waited, and when I saw them walking, I looked at her and I thought, "Oh, this is it."
Oh wow!
She is the one.
Straight away.
Yes.
Wow.
So had you seen a photo of her or anything?
No.
You just went in faith.
I've never seen anything
Wow.
of her before.
I've never
Okay.
seen anything of him either.
So a real blind date then. It was
Yes.
a real
Very,
one.
very blind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but so when you saw, your first impressions were good, and then you went out. So what happened? So who proposed, and how did that happen?
We went out for a couple of days.
Days.
Uh,
Oh no, sorry. I read into that that you proposed after a few days. Like, man, that guy is a fast mover.
no, not that way. But
Just know I was going to agree without knowing
it's
him a
probably
little bit.
from day one.
Yeah.
I was very clear of what I wanted. So
Okay.
you could take it to mean days, literally that way, because after a few days, actually, I did tell her that I'm not here to waste your time.
Right.
So
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
if it's not going to be a serious thing, then I have no time for that.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was very serious, and I thought, wow, this man is not joking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that affect how you then thought about him with the kind of straightforward approach?
On the other hand, I sort of like someone who is straightforward and says what he wants, rather than just beating around the bush and not saying exactly what he wants. And that was really good, because I think it's he gave me an opportunity to make up my mind whether I want to proceed or just to call this relationship off. So I thought, this man is really serious.
Yeah.
And that's one good thing that impressed me as well. Yes.
Fantastic.
At that time, I think I could tell we were different levels.
Okay.
She was a very posh woman, very,
Okay.
I could say very rich then.
Yeah.
She had everything, and I was just a young man starting my life.
Right.
Yeah, so I had to make that very clear from day one. This is me. This is what you see is exactly what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a stumbling block for you, Gloria, that he...
Actually, that is one thing that attracted me to Amos.
Okay.
Yes, because he was honest and
Alright.
open.
Yeah.
Yes, this is me, so you either, take me or just leave me, but this is me. So he didn't hide, and he didn't try to impress me. He didn't go and, ask for somebody's car to just come and, he was just himself. And I really liked that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
I used to walk to her house and I pick her car because I could drive, she couldn't drive. She had a car, I didn't have a car.
Look at how God worked that one out. Yeah.
So I had what she didn't have and she had what I didn't have.
Yeah. Together we're a great team.
Yeah. And we used to go out in the evening, then I have to drop her back home and jump out of the car, pack it and give her the keys and walk to the bus stop and take my bus back home.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Must have been a lonely journey home.
Oh, it was a joyful.
Fantastic. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. But the other thing that I had to make very clear from the beginning was my religious background.
Okay.
Because I'm born and bred Adventist. She was born and bred Catholic up to that point in time. So I had to get to that point and tell her that, okay, I'm a 7-day Adventist. This is what we believe in. I rest on Sabbath. And this is how I would like my life and my wife and children to be.
Yeah.
So if you don't think this is going to work for you, then I would like to know now so that I don't mess your life.
Okay. So it didn't deter you that she was an Adventist?
No, I could see the value. I could see the character.
Okay.
And I wanted that.
Yeah.
And Gloria, weren't you terrified that he was Adventist?
I was really terrified. I was so terrified. So, oh no. Because when I was growing up, Seventh-day Adventists, we used to look at them and say, these people who go to church on Saturday, and I never thought that I'd be one of them. And I actually used to laugh at them. I'm originally from Tanzania, East Africa, and it's very hot there. But on the Sabbath, the Adventists will be wearing their suits.
Wow.
It's hot,
Wow.
but the suit has to be there, and they'll be carrying their Bibles.
Wow.
So you can spot an Adventist walking on the road. And when I was at the university, we had few of them. Friday evening, they wouldn't no studying, nothing until Saturday sunset. So. Well, I never thought that I will actually marry an Adventist in my life. Because the thought of going to church on Saturday, that was a no-no for me. So that was a little bit disappointing. Not a little, that was a little, it was disappointing. Yeah. But well, who knows? God's ways are not our ways.
Well.
Yeah.
Actually, if I may mention something that we broke up for a few hours because of the issue of Sabbath.
Yeah.
And I remember it was Friday evening, and the following day was her birthday. So we broke up and we agreed that we are not going to talk to each other. But on a Sabbath morning, I had my phone ring, and when I looked, it was her. Like, you couldn't even call me on my birthday. I said, I thought we finished yesterday.
Hey, Mom.
The same was for you.
Then it picked up from there, so I went and got a nice bouquet of flowers and we went out that evening.
Yes, it was
We
lovely.
had a nice
Woo!
meal, and after
Still remember that day?
we never argued
Yesterday.
over Sabbath.
Oh, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
Yes, it was a nice
Okay.
bouquet of red roses.
lovely.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, being your friends, we've had the privilege of seeing your wedding photos on out and display in your house. So, how did you get to that point? Who proposed to whom? How did that happen? And there was silence for the space of half an hour.
Well, I did propose.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think it was probably after a year.
Yeah, after
Yeah,
a year.
after a year. I mean, I wanted to
Yeah.
propose from day one,
Right.
but I had to take my time.
Let's just go through 364 days.
At least
Yeah.
suffering and waiting patiently. Yeah, so it was me. And
How did it go with you?
She didn't say yes.
Okay, right.
She told me she's going to think about it. And
Did you take long to think about it? Gloria?
And I don't remember saying yes up to now, did you?
She must have. You married.
Yeah.
I think a couple of days or weeks. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I took my time because I also didn't want to look desperate.
You know, this whole thing about looking a certain way is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Now, looking back over in time, what would you, if you were to tell your younger selves about this whole thing, about how you look? If you were to talk to your younger selves, what would you say to yourselves now about caring about how you looked? Did you not wanting to look desperate?
Yes, but also on the other side, it was a very, it was a difficult decision.
Right.
When reality hit that, is this the man I want to spend the rest of my life with? That was, wow. Am I ready, to be a Seventh-day Adventist,
Right.
to live the Adventist lifestyle, to live with this man? So there was a lot that was going on in my mind.
Yeah.
And I actually had to go and speak with my parents first before I just say yes
Okay.
as to whether, they would approve of this. Otherwise,
Wow.
I say yes and then come back and say no. I don't think my parents would agree to this. So yeah, I took my time and I had to sort of seek advice and other people that I really trusted.
Yeah.
Because I've never been married before, and yeah, it was a huge decision. It's okay, you can be friends, but when it's time to say that, it's not
Right.
about the emotions or anything, but
Right.
marriage is deeper
Okay.
than just that cliche or that click that you have when you see each other.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Was this
But thank
was
God.
this mindset, because it's quite important, isn't it?
Yes.
Was this mindset something that you grew into, or was it something that was instilled in you from family or close friends? Like, how did you come to that realization that it's bigger than just emotions and feelings?
Yes, it was instilled in me by my family, and also I had seen how marriages have been breaking in in the circle of people we knew, and what's going on in the society.
Yeah.
So yeah, that really sort of scared me a little bit to make a decision just like that without really thinking about it. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
And I wasn't as prayerful as I am now, because otherwise I think I would have gone on days of prayer and fasting. But I had people around who I shared, and they prayed for me.
Amen. Amen.
You're nodding silently there, Amos. Obviously, you passed.
Yeah, but
Yes.
what she's mentioned there that is very key is I think your background determines how you respond to such things. Because I was also worried that she's Catholic, and we'd had a family member who had married a Catholic and they divorced. So I was worried also, how am I going to tell my family that she's Catholic? What if?
Right.
What if they say, do you remember what happened? So that was at the back of my mind as well. So, but I think best choice
Yes.
ever.
Amen.
No regret.
You gave her a special ring, Amos. I have an inside story on this, but you tell the story. What's so special about her ring?
Well, she's from Tanzania,
Yes.
and there is a particular mineral that is only found in Tanzania called tanzanite.
Yes.
So the engagement ring had to come with a tanzanite on it.
Wow.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So instead of putting a diamond or such,
Which is
things,
common to
which is common
everywhere.
to everywhere and everybody,
That's right.
I thought, I've just found a gem in Tanzania.
Boom!
So
Boom!
why
Boom!
not?
Boom! Yeah, this is one of them
Why not?
clicking moments, isn't it?
Listeners, we are clicking
I'll
our
have to click
fingers.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, praise the Lord. You found yourself a special gem.
Amen.
And okay, so here we are. Like I said, today we're looking at raising children. You have a boy and a girl. I'm going to share that for our listeners. But I think before we get into the meat of the show, we're going to have a little break.
Yeah.
Just so that we can tell you who you're listening to.
So, just to remind you, you're listening to Adventist Radio London. This is the Family Matters Show. If you'd like to call in or text in, you can actually email in studio@adventistradio.london, or you can text in 82228, the word hope, a space, and then your message. We'll be back just after this.
You are listening to the Family Matters Show on Adventist Radio London.
Welcome back to Adventist Radio London. You're listening to the Family Matters Show, and today we have in the studio Amos and Gloria. And Amos, you have an amazing event to tell us about that will be happening soon. Do you want to share that with our listeners, please?
Oh, yes. We do organize Mothers and Fathers Prayer Conference, and our next event is on the 16th of November. We have very powerful speakers. We have Pastor Russell and his wife coming from the US. And we also have a local pastor, Pastor Ayo Adesina, who is a pastor in one of the Adventist churches in
Is it Bethel?
South England conference. No,
Blessed Hope.
it's Blessed Hope.
Thank you.
Yeah. They're very powerful speakers, and they're coming. We have a prayer school in the morning, whereby those of you who would want to learn about prayer, who are not confident about prayer, You'll be taught the steps to take in order to be a powerful prayer warrior. And we'll be having a wonderful program at around 11:45, which is called Cry Out Day and Night.
Right.
And here we'll have Pastor Russell and Brenda speaking and sharing a lot of information on how to become a powerful man of God, a woman of God.
Okay,
Is
excellent.
there breakfast, I understand, on Sunday?
Yes, there's breakfast on Sunday morning, and that will be at Highland House School.
Where is that? Where's Highland House School?
That's in London, and you are welcome for that one. The postcode is N17 9AD.
And how do people sign up for the conference?
It's very easy. You just need to go to Eventbrite and just type in Mothers and Fathers Prayer Conference. And we have 2 different ways of signing in. For fathers, there will be a father's page. Go to that one and sign in. And for mothers, there will be a mother's page.
Okay. Is that the same for the event on this Sunday? Do they have to? Is it an Eventbrite event, or do they just show up at?
The Sunday
Highland
ones
House.
will also pop up. It's a prayer breakfast, so you need to book that one separately.
Excellent. Thanks for that.
Do you have contact numbers in case that our listeners would like to contact someone, probably?
That's right. Let's get it all in. This is the moment. This is a good event. In fact, Ruth, you and I have attended. Was it the last 3?
Yeah, they have been absolutely brilliant, so inspirational, and really, really beneficial as well. You feel very empowered, don't you?
Yes, and
Afterwards.
for the Pastor Russell and Sister Russell did the last marriage seminar that we attended, and that was that was amazing.
Wow.
We've spoken about some of the things that we've learned from them. We are speaking here while Amos finds the number so that he can tell us the numbers for the event. But should we need to do that, we can share that later in the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe let's just get on to the subject matter. You have 2 children, like I said. Obviously, you are from Kenya, Amos, and Gloria
Yes.
is from Tanzania.
Yes.
What are the cultural expectations in terms of having of children? You have a boy and you have a girl. The older is the girl and the younger is the boy, obviously if you have 2. But so what are the cultural expectations in your culture, Gloria? Is there an expectation? Is there a preference in terms of the gender of the child?
Oh yeah, I mean, a boy. If you have a boy, it is a sign of. I mean, you know that your name will be carried,
Right.
because the boy carries the name, and a girl obviously gets married and they change their name.
Okay.
So yeah, if you have a boy, it's a sign of you know that at least your name is going to be carried. But really, things have changed nowadays.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not a big deal anymore. So long as you have good, healthy children, that's all. That's all that matters, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we agreed from the beginning. Me and Amos, we said if we're only going to get girls, that's fine. We'll be happy with that. And if we are going to get 2 boys, still that's okay. So yeah, it wasn't really a big deal.
Okay.
I thank God for that. Yeah.
Okay, what about in your culture? So was it the same? It's also, is it preference, if you please? I know it's an awful word, but...
Yeah, in our culture, obviously, if you don't have a boy, people tend to look down on you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and obviously they're saying that you don't have a heir to your kingdom, per se.
Okay.
So every man getting married, you would want to have a boy.
Okay.
So I remember that at that point in time I was looking forward to our firstborn being a boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was never disappointed that it was a girl, but obviously when you are waiting for the second one, now you're like, oh, let it be a boy.
Yeah.
And we fasted and tried all that you could to get a boy, but God said, wait,
Yeah.
my timing is the right timing. And
Amen.
when we were not doing all these things, just God gave us a boy.
Excellent. Yeah, I don't know. In my culture, it's the same. We love girls, but like every father wants his name to be carried forward. I remember when I told my father that we're expecting, he asked, is it a boy and a girl? And I was like, well, what does it matter? It's like, because I have an older brother, and I said, but you already have grandsons. Like, yeah, and I know, but I would like to have a grandson. I said, well, for me, it doesn't matter. We wonder whether it's a boy or a girl, and God gave us a son. So when I broke the news that actually we're expecting a son, he was quietly pleased. Because his generation, really, it matters that much, and I guess less to me, to us in our generation. Okay.
I mean, I told Gloria that we had girls, we wouldn't be looking for another one just because we want a boy.
Yes.
We had agreed 2 children, and that was it.
Okay.
I was surprised, actually.
Yeah.
Coming from an African man saying that if we get 2 girls, it's okay. But yeah, that shows what kind of a person Amos is. Yeah.
So you sound like you're happy with your choice.
Very happy with my choice. I have no regrets
Praise the Lord.
whatsoever.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
If I had to choose again, I would still choose Amos.
Hallelujah.
And it's been how many years of marriage?
17 years of marriage.
Amen.
Praise God. Okay, so obviously you have 2 children and energetic, vibrant. For those of us who are new to this lifestyle, if you please, what's a good way of disciplining children within the bounds of the law?
I think the best way is the 2 of you agreeing
Okay.
how to do it.
Okay.
Yes.
Because if you don't agree, then when you think you're doing your best to help your children, you end up causing friction in the family. Because your spouse does not like it that way. So the 2 of you must be together on how to discipline children, and I think that has helped us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that something that you decided on before you were having children, or was this something that you found along the way?
We found along the way, isn't it?
I think it's probably because of our backgrounds as well. And when you get children, you don't quite write down or plan how you're going to discipline your children.
Step 1.
Yeah, there's no such thing.
No
so
manual.
It's when they have started developing that you realize that is not what I want them to be like. Then you have to create those boundaries, and you could make mistakes in the beginning, and then you realize that your spouse is not happy with the way you've done it.
Okay.
And then from there, then okay, let's do it this way. Or sometimes you talk before you discipline.
Right. Is that something? I know some people say they have like family meetings and things like that. Do you find that you have to allocate time to maybe discuss certain things before then you go ahead, or does it become more instinctive now that you understand each other? You know what the other would feel about a certain issue, or do you still need to make time to have those kind of one-to-one team meeting? How are we going to do this?
It's both ways, actually. There are times when we do the meetings,
Yes.
and there are times when it's impromptu because it needs to be sorted out.
Yes.
Sometimes it's when they walk into your bedroom and you're like, sit down, and there's something we need to sort out. And then you sort it out and you talk through it, and you end it up well. We try as much as possible to make sure that the ending is a happy ending.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're away from the village setting, back in Africa, having that extra family around you to support you. So how have you coped in an environment where you technically almost isolated? How do you manage? Do you get input from other individuals? How does that work? Do you have an extended family here?
We do not have extended family here, but we have a church family.
Right.
Okay.
Amen.
Yeah.
And we have some friends who not necessarily come to our church, but they have been helpful.
Okay.
So, we appreciate the two of you, your input towards our children.
Yes.
It's been very important. So, within the church community, we've had people who have been there for our children at different times.
So it's quite helpful
for
to
us.
be part of a church, because you get that village feel, if you please,
Yes.
from those fellow believers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because we have a common belief
Yes.
or faith, if you want to put it that way. And that also becomes a village in itself.
Okay. Excellent. Having children, obviously, you come from both from East Africa, Tanzania and Central or East Africa?
East Africa.
East Africa, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a common language?
Yes, we
Okay, you
have
do.
Swahili is our common language
Okay.
that unites us.
But you have languages of your own?
Yes.
And your cultures, your tribes, if you please, are very distinct from one another?
Yes, they are.
Okay. So how did you merge in terms of raising children? When did the children actually intensify? Did you find, are your cultures too far apart when it comes to raising children, or are they close? Are the values the same?
The values are quite similar, very close actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there might be other differences, but when it comes to the values of raising children, I think they are very close.
Yes.
And we have not had a big problem.
No.
And I'm just going to go back a little bit, because I think here, which is really quite interesting, we've got the cultural differences in terms of the location, but the cultural differences in terms of beliefs, Adventism, Catholicism, how did that impact your journey, into, Seventh-day Adventism, and then onwards, was there a difference there in terms of raising children and instilling values into the children?
Yeah. Adventism is a lifestyle
Okay.
because there's so much that I learned when I came to the Adventist church, which I had no clue, like keeping the Sabbath.
Okay.
I never kept the Sabbath in my life. So really, when Friday evening comes with keeping the Sabbath, I still wanted to watch my soaps, the movies, the Bold and the Beautiful.
Yes.
Those who grew up in that time, the days of our lives, those kind of things.
Yeah.
And then Amos would say, no, it's Sabbath, we shouldn't be watching this, we should be worshipping. That was quite new to me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would say yes, but sometimes I would be a little bit difficult and say no.
Yeah.
There were days that I felt like, I just don't feel like keeping the Sabbath today, really, because it's something that was really new to me. Going to church on Saturday and spending the whole day there.
Right, the whole day.
With the child, it's easier to just stay at home and take it easy and
Right.
make it an excuse that I think. So that was really different for me. It was a bit challenging, I must say. There were days.
Yeah, it's true, because having been raised Adventist, you don't see it difficult to spend a whole day in church.
Okay.
And she was used to shopping on Saturday
yes.
and then going to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
So that meant she had at least that free time to do whatever she wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then Sunday she was more freer. Now, you come from work on Friday and Sabbath is here upon you, so you don't get that much time. And waking up Sabbath morning to go to church was a bit of an issue with her. So I used to wake up with the baby at that time, but the baby prepare, get ready, and go to church. She's still sleeping. So, and again, as I said, it's a village. There were mothers in church who could take the care of the baby,
Yes.
and then I could go
Amen.
back and pick her from
Amen.
home
Yeah.
to come to church, because
Okay.
it was important for me that as a family we be at church together.
Yes.
But because she was not ready, and this is probably something that I might also want to share with people who have married outside their faith or their denomination, that you need to be patient with your spouse, because
Yeah.
they have not grown up in that culture, in that lifestyle. You need to be patient so that they can actually see the Jesus in you.
Amen.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Maybe just some terms of reference. By Adventist, we mean the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and by Sabbath, we mean Friday sunset to Saturday sunset.
Yes.
Just in case there's somebody who's never heard these terms before. Okay, you fast forward. You came over to the UK. You have 2 children. How has this culture influenced how you raise your children? Obviously, you've got your own similar traditional values.
Yeah.
Now you are plonked in a society whose values are not as traditional as yours.
Yes.
How have you managed to navigate those waters?
I'm still trying to navigate.
You need a submarine, maybe.
It is not easy because obviously the law here is different from the law
Yeah.
in the countries that we have come from.
Yeah.
So as Christians, we ought to obey the law.
Yes.
And therefore there are certain things that you could do when you were back at home, especially how to discipline the children,
Yes.
spanking and smacking and all this you could do.
Yes.
But when you come here, you do realize that there is a limit of what you can do.
Yeah.
And that is something that we've struggled to accept. But obviously, being Christians, we have learned that
Right.
we have to do it the right way.
Yes.
But God has helped us. This far we have come, and we've managed to raise the children to
Yes.
be who they are.
You have. You have. And you haven't fallen foul of the law, praise God. And I like the point that you raise, that it is Christians, there's an expectation that we obey the law.
Yes.
And it's something that you don't really you hear a lot. Yeah, Christianity is not a religion that is averse to following rules that don't conflict with God's teaching. So that's excellent. And the Bible actually talks about raising the children, and it gives advice on that. Okay, what about in terms of gender roles? Traditionally, obviously, in my culture, I can honestly say maybe my dad raised us minimally. It was the females, and we were blessed to have somebody looking after us. We didn't call them nannies, we called them help. We called them usisi. Actually, we had a sisi, a lady in our household who would help with raising the children. So that was different. My father was there. I knew he was the father. He was the godlike figure sitting on the sofa in the living room, and the living room was like this holy place that you only entered with washed feet and clean clothes.
And bowed.
Yes, actually you did. There was reverence from a father. You had to reverence him growing up, but that was the culture. What about you guys? How is it in terms of your roles, your gender roles? How do you do things?
Well, moving from Africa to England, we quickly realized that there's no CC, there's no maid at all to help us. And I grew up with maids around as well. We had people to help us and help our parents. So there wasn't that. So we realized, and the other thing is, I was working as well.
Yes.
So working, looking after a little one,
Yeah.
I realized that I couldn't do it on my own.
Yeah.
I needed help.
Yeah.
And Amos, coming from the African background, obviously this was completely new to him. Like what Brian was talking about, the father just sits in the sitting room and things things are done for him. But thank God for Amos's Christian background.
Yes.
It really made a difference because of the love that he had for me and the love of Christ. As Amos said, I saw Christ in Amos.
Wow.
Because he couldn't just sit there and watch me, toiling all day and night, looking after the child.
Yeah.
And that spoke volumes to me.
Amen.
He witnessed to me.
Yeah.
He was helping me out. He didn't know how to change a nappy, but he was willing to learn.
That's it.
He didn't know how to, do some certain things and cook certain things, but he was willing to learn and just be there for me. And I thought, wow, this man is different.
Yeah.
And I realized it's because of his background, the Christian background. So yes, he comes from the African background, but his parents raised him really, really well.
Amen.
Yes, that really stood out for me. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think that my background was any different, but there was one thing that stood out. The fact that we grew up a family of boys mostly,
Yeah.
because my sisters are much older than us. So there was
Okay.
4 boys who were the youngest, and therefore we were left home, and our mom said, your sisters are gone now, you have to take all the roles in the
Yes.
household.
Yeah.
So we had to do that, even though I didn't see my father doing all these things, but we had to learn to cook, to wash, and to share household chores.
Yes. Yes.
And from there now, when I grew up and I went to live with my sisters and older brothers, I was the sissy you're talking about. So I did all this.
Sissy Amos. Yeah.
Wow.
No, I get that because I've shared before. My mom was an equal opportunity employer, so it didn't matter that you're a boy. My father was traditional material Zulu. I'm the other man. So they also, I think they fought for me in a sense. Because I was raised, the men were outside in the garden and doing stuff. So, like typically on a Sunday, I would be out in the garden. But come lunchtime, I would be expected to wash the dishes as well. So, and my mother said, actually, she made sure I learned to cook, I learned to clean, I learned to iron, I learned to run a household. Cause she, and her thing was like, I don't want you to grow up to be a problem for your wife.
Wow,
So-
praise the Lord.
Amen.
I hope my wife thanks that woman when she sees the name.
Always.
Just to add one more thing to that.
Yes.
There was something that was like a motto for Adventists in
Yes.
the village that I grew up in.
Okay.
They say that cleanliness is
Next to
godliness.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
for that reason, we were taught to be clean.
Yes.
So you made your bed. You did everything
Yeah.
neatly and nicely.
Yeah.
So that also helped me too. And I think I've kept that to date.
Yes,
Okay.
you have.
So the question that I'd like to ask is, with that experience and the shared roles and how you now have that culture of working together, how do you pass that on to your children? What kind of values are you teaching them about the roles within the house and working together and that kind of things? Like, what do you do with them? Do they have shared chores and roles?
At the moment, yes, although they're different age. I mean, there's a 4-year difference. But they sweep the house. They do the dishes. I know we have the dishwasher, but there are days we say nothing is going in the dishwasher. So people need to wash by hand. So they have learned to wash by hand.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
They have been taught to cook. Although the younger one is not there yet, but he's also learning. He can cook a few things. They do hoovering. Both of them do hoover. Sometimes we tell them to do their room. Sometimes they do the whole house.
Right.
Yeah.
They iron. So because we know that tomorrow they're not with us,
Right.
and when they're out there, they go to uni and wherever else they will be. We don't want them to blame us and say you never taught us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather they say you taught us too much so, than saying we
Yes.
didn't.
They clean the bathrooms, they do their own clothes. We don't do them for them. Yeah. So, yes, we are teaching them.
Yeah.
You guys are tough taskmasters, but I guess it's good. It's preparation for the future. I mean, it's funny, but I'm sure they don't rejoice when you get them to do the chores. Because I remember I thought my parents were like very bad. I was going to use the word, but I won't use that word. I thought they were like prison guards.
I know what you mean.
And I hated it. And I looked at my friends who'll be free.
Yes.
And because back home we had in the front when we lived in the township before we moved. I'm from Zimbabwe, like I've shared before. We had a little cement. It was called the stoop. Outside the house where there's like a paving of cement and it was my job even as a guy to polish that.
Wow.
So I would have all my friends looking
Cobra.
With Cobra, yes, with Cobra. There you go. And it's not even the clear Cobra, Amos. It was the red Cobra.
Yes.
And you know how that red Cobra is. It doesn't. It's like a floor polish,
yeah.
And you have to put it down and then come back and shine it straight away. Because if you let it harden in the sun, you have a harder job. So
wow.
I had to do all of that, and I felt like my parents were being really cruel. But then they told me that there's no job that is beneath you.
Yes.
If a job needs getting done, it needs getting done. And these are values that I guess you can pass on to your children, and it's good that you're teaching them that way.
They're only happy when you're asking the other one to do the job.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, I did it yesterday. No, it's my turn now. Okay. All right. Just in case you've just joined us, we are the Family Matters Show in your Adventist Radio London. And Ruth, if somebody needs to share a word or to contact us, how do
if
they
you'd
do
like
it?
to contact us, you can email studio@adventistradio.london, or you can text 82228, the word hope, a space, and then your message will be back right after this.
You are listening to the Family Matters Show on Adventist Radio London.
Okay, so we're back. This is Adventist Radio London. You're listening to the Family Matters Show, and we've been talking to Gloria and Amos.
Yes, we have. And they've been sharing their story with us and their views about raising children. And you were saying off air, Gloria, just how the in terms of culture, it wasn't as much the tribal culture. It was more the religious culture that you found most interesting to merge.
Yes.
Yeah, but you guys have managed this now.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
And one of the things that we ask couples that come on the show is that God brought you together, and it wasn't by chance.
Amen.
So what do you think He brought you together for? Are you guys involved in any ministry together as a couple? And obviously the point is to win souls for God's kingdom. So what do you think God brought you together for, if I can get the words out?
I think God brought us together to, first of all, for me, speaking for myself, to save me.
Okay.
And also to be able to be a witness to others, that prayer changes things.
Okay.
Amos is very prayerful. And from very early on, he started teaching me how to pray. You would not believe it, but he did, actually. And he used to pray for me. I mean, he told me there are times that I would be fast asleep and he will kneel beside me at the bedside and just pray for me.
Wow.
For days when I didn't want to, sort of go to church, or I just felt that this whole Adventist thing is quite difficult. So sometimes he wouldn't say anything, but he would talk to God. And the results, I'm looking at myself now, is amazing.
Praise the Lord.
I'm not the woman I used to be many years ago, because God used my husband in a very special way to change me. So I got born again through his prayer ministry.
Amen.
And now our prayer ministry is leading me to salvation.
Amen.
Yeah.
So sometimes you don't realize you may plant a little seed, but when it grows it becomes a big tree, and that big tree becomes your shelter. Now
I feel I should be taking notes, man. You're a lyricist.
we depend on her in this family for prayers, because she's a powerful woman of God.
Praise the Lord.
She prays. She wakes up in the middle of the night. I never used to do those ones, but now I'm learning.
Yeah. What are there any other ministries that you're doing as a couple that you feel that God has directed you specifically?
Yes, as a couple, we love to encourage other couples, and especially young couples. We we feel like it's an obligation for us to share the challenges that we have gone through, so that they, if they can avoid them, it will help. And also sometimes it's good to just share and talk. Sometimes people ask questions and they lead into answers of whatever challenges that they are going through.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people just phone you, or they just come to you? Is there a referral process? Do they have to go through the GP, or how does it work?
At the moment, we don't run like a consultation clinic, but when we hear that there is somebody who has a problem, and if they are willing, we are more than welcome to visit them. They can come to us. We can go out together.
Yeah.
We do also run couples dinners and evenings.
Yeah, we've been to
one or two.
So we enjoy couples, because if a couple is together, then the family stands. And if the family stands, the church stands, the community stands, the country stands.
Yes.
Amen.
The nation is at peace.
Yes.
Amen.
Wonderful.
Amen.
Okay. Well, it's been great talking to you guys. Thank you for taking the time to come onto our show and sharing a bit about your lives. And we look forward to speaking to you again at some point, because I believe that God's going to do mighty things through you. And at some point, I'm sure you'll be back on Adventist Radio London sharing what else God has done through you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. You've been listening to the Family Matters show. I'm Brian Maxwell.
I'm Ruth Maxwell. We've had a wonderful time.